I maintain the answer is yes in the modern era, but there's been a lot of conversation, and we'll get into why this is a topic here today. On Friday morning, was 2023 Michigan the national champions? Were they the best Big Ten team ever? I think it's a question to debate. I want to hear what you guys think. So get down in the comments and let me know what you think. Michigan 2023, the best Big Ten team ever, or at least in the era that you saw games, the televised era or whatever era that you consider yourself in. Later in the show, people are freaking out there lately about Michigan's recruiting efforts, right? 2026 class not looking great right now, but is there an NIL playbook that maybe makes the reason why Michigan isn't pushing recruits to commit when schools like USC and Ohio State and Oregon and Penn State in the Big Ten are? You'll want to watch that. I kind of broke down Michigan's NIL implementation and deployment timeline. But the Donovan Edwards, was on Rich Eisen and Rich Eisen Show, and he talked about his Michigan career, NFL draft coming up in 6 days. Winning a senior class in Michigan football history, which is something I think I knew when they, after the Alabama game, but it's kind of interesting just to kind of think about that in totality. Gave high historical praise for this 2023 team. Eisen asked him, and just in context, where Michigan ranks in the lore of college football. And he said this, I'll just quote him word for word. You know what, boss? I feel like definitely one of the greatest teams ever assembled. We had all the talent across the board. And I don't know how anybody could disagree with him, because not only did you have, 13 guys drafted like that from that class last year, you also then had guys like Donovan Edwards and Khalil Mullings. I'm not sure if both of them will get drafted, but I think at least one we'll see. And the 4 guys who will likely be first rounders, and Josiah Stewart, who will likely be a second or a third rounder. And you look forward to next year, right? Your third stringers on that team were like guys like TJ Guy and Derek Moore, who is being potentially an all Big Ten player. Rayshon Benny, who's a third stringer, maybe a second stringer to some games on that 2023 team. So the greatest quarterback in Michigan football history. I think the greatest running back in Michigan football history. One of the best offensive linemen in Ben Bredesen. Who am I thinking? 66, 65. Just think of the name. And got hurt at the Ohio State game. Forgetting Mikey Sainristil, right? Making a huge impact in the Ohio State game. In the NFL, I'm sorry. You got Will Johnson, of course, going to be a first rounder, top 10, top 12 pick this year. Talent across the board. Kenneth Grant wasn't even starting most games for Michigan last year. One season in, he is a first rounder after this year. And the guy who was behind, was a first round draft pick. So I think that there is certainly something to be said. Edwards, just that record, 47-8 in his 4 years at Michigan. Just such a good year, such a good year. 5 of those losses came last year, and he just kind of puts in totality and just in context of how great that 21-23 run was for Michigan. He continued on, just talking about things for him. My goals, 3 things. He wanted to beat Ohio State, win a Big Ten championship, national championship. Never wanted to lose to Ohio State. Remember after the 2023 game, we ain't never losing to Ohio State. We ain't never losing to Ohio State in the locker room. Came through, right? He didn't have a huge impact, but he did not lose to Ohio State. 4-0 against the Buckeyes. He just said, like, the last year, right, in the manner in which they did it, Khalil Mullings, his backfield mate, they're getting that run in the fourth quarter to put Michigan in, with no quarterback situation. Davis worn out, Alex Orji back in, absolutely no offense to think of, and they beat Ohio State again, 13-10. Type post in the comments. You guys do the thing as always. And it was just awesome to see. Guys, if you have yet to do so, follow us across social media. I want to make sure you know all the places to find myself, the Michigan Football Report. Jack, you want to plug your Twitter from time to time? Feel free. Where you at? Jack Lauderay? Jack Lauderay. Maybe we'll put that one in the description for tomorrow as well. For this video as well. I'm at James Yoder. We'll put all these down, second or third paragraph of the video. At Michigan Football Report on Instagram. Harbaugh Go Blue. Facebook will not let us change the URL there, but that is the page. 80,000 people follow that page on Facebook. And then TikTok. We don't put as much stuff on TikTok, but we got a few thousand followers on TikTok at Michigan Football Report. So I want to ask you guys this question. As Donovan Edwards said, Michigan, one of the best teams ever assembled. I certainly don't think Michigan was as good last year in 2023 as some of the teams in the lore of college football. But I do think there could be a real argument that it's the best team in Big Ten history. You think about just the teams that won national championships in my lifetime, or, I guess in my lifetime, right? 97 Michigan. I think 2023 was better. You've got last year's Ohio State, right? Michigan's 2024 team beat them, so clearly 2014 Ohio State was not a legendary great team, right? They kind of built into it. And then 2002 Ohio State, Michigan beat by about 50. So I think at least in the last 30 years, mid-90s to now, I don't know how you can make an argument that this team is not the best team in Big Ten history. I'm sure there might be some arguments for prior, some Ohio State teams in the 1960s and beyond there. But you got to just think about this team. You had J.J. McCarthy. All right. You had Jim Harbaugh, right? He was so good as a coach. That team was so stacked. He didn't have to coach against top 10 Penn State against on the road. Number 2, Ohio State at home. The first 3 games of the year, and then why am I keep missing with the Jack 65 Ohio State? I have a Michigan game last year. Offensive lineman. I'm just forgetting the name. Who was it? 6'5", got hurt against Ohio State. You had what? Zach Zinter. I kept thinking Ben Bredesen. I'm like, it's not Ben Bredesen. Zach Zinter. So you had just legendary players across all levels: linebacker, defensive line, secondary, wide receivers. Maybe the only position you say, oh, they weren't awesome, but Roman Wilson still got drafted in the 3rd round. Cornelius Johnson, I think, the 7th round, and then you had a first-round tight end, great offensive lineman. It's just such a good team. I want to ask you guys the question one more time. Considering the case I made, considering what you know about this team, if you're not a Michigan fan, you probably could say, no way, right? The team never got its due. The kind of Stallions cloud was still over it from the haters and the fans. But let me know down in the comments. I'm going to have to hit an ad break here. So while we do this ad break, scroll down. Let me know what you think about 2023 Michigan. Greatest team of all time, yes or no? Let me know. Come back up. We'll be wrapping up the ad break. The Michigan Football Report is presented by Factor. I am so excited to have them back as a sponsor on the show. Make this your best season yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well has never been this easy. Just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do what you want. Get outside instead of being inside, prepping and cooking indoors. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyles. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals, like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more are the options that you get. Factor powers your day with satisfying breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. It's easy to savor more this spring. Factor meals pack in the flavor with none of the fuss. I love them. One of my favorite things, your Factor meals have been delivered. Boom, I am eating well again. Get 50% off your first box and free shipping at factormeals.com/MichiganChat50off. Use that code MichiganChat50off. It's right at the second paragraph of the description, also in the comments. Get started, factormeals.com/MichiganChat50off. Make sure you use that promo code MichiganChat50off, 50% off, and your first box and free shipping. Let's talk about the NIL timing. Where is Michigan deploying these Larry Ellison funds, these Dave Portnoy, these Jack Lotteray, James Yoder funds? You never know here, right? We offer up $1 million for Bryce Underwood. They didn't take us up on it. Maybe that's a good thing, but nevertheless, we did. So right now, we are in the transfer portal window. Only 10 days in the spring. Michigan is going to put that money over the next 7 days to the portal ends, trying to find more wide receivers, more offensive linemen, more defensive linemen. Maybe depending on how a couple of those offensive linemen and defensive linemen transfers, maybe wide receiver guys from the spring, from January, kind of come around. May is when you are going to try and have some performers in spring ball, get them new packages for the 2025 season. Once May ends, June, the summer, Michigan will pour it on for recruiting. So if you think anything's going to happen in the next 5-6 weeks from now until the end of May in recruiting, you might get a commit or two, but nothing's going to happen that's going to move the needle. But June and July is when Michigan will hone in on the class, when they know, hey, we've got our roster for next year. We've tightened up, make sure the guys who had good springs are in line to get starters, are being compensated what we promised them or what we're slotting for those roles. And once they do that, boom, they've got 6-7 weeks to do that. And then June 1st through the season, they're going to go heavy. So I do expect 10 plus, maybe even as high as 12 or 15 commitments between June 1st and let's just call it maybe August 31st. I was thinking more August 15th, but in that 60 to 90 day window of the summer. And I think there's too much freaking out right now going on recruiting because timelines have changed recently, right? It used to be 10 years ago, 12 years ago, Brady Hoke era, before that, 2012, that Michigan would try and get 15, 16, 18 commits in February of their junior year, right? Now it's April, May coming up of the junior year of all of these 2026 prospects. But I'm not freaking out as a lot of people are seeing out there because I know Michigan's now playing the NIL game and got him Bryce Underwood, got him Andrew Babaloa, got him other players, and that has pushed things back. They don't want to overcommit at some places, not have the money. They still have a budget. They're going to get $20 million or so from the congressional ruling that they can put towards football, put towards basketball. Other schools in the Big Ten, though, are not slow playing it like Michigan are. How about USC? 22 commits already in April of the junior year for this 2026 class. Ohio State, number 2 in the Big Ten, number 2 in the country as well. And then you have a little drop down. Illinois with 14 commits. Not as high-level guys. Penn State, 10, and Oregon, 8. That is the rankings top 5 recruiting classes 2026 in the Big Ten. Michigan, 16th in the Big Ten right now. Only 3 commits, all 3 stars. So clearly, if this was 2017, if this is 2012, it's even 2021, I think freaking out. But if you understand and trust the timeline that I put in front of you guys, let's do it over time. Toss that timeline up one more time. Everyone just understand what we're dealing with, right? Right now is the spring portal window. Michigan's going to analyze the spring game tomorrow. They're going to see what they get out of McCulley, what they get out of the 2 offensive lineman transfers, what they get out of this Clemson and the Alabama defensive lineman transfers. If they don't see what they like, they're going to go heavy to fill out that roster, the starting roster in the 2 deep, over the next 7 days till the portal window closes. And then in May, it's taking a look. What does our 2 deep look like? Let's make sure these guys are compensated for this season. They don't start looking around mid-season, start feeling jealous of what other guys in the team or the schools are making. And then June 1st through August, that window and beyond, right? But that window is really when Michigan's core recruiting is going to happen. The barbecue at the big house, weekend visits every single week in June, July, until they go back to fall camp. And I think it's actually last day of July this year, August, because they're playing games in August one more time this year because of the additional week between Labor Day and Thanksgiving. But let me know what you guys are thinking. Are you freaking out about recruiting like the message board blog boys, like the people on Twitter, like the Facebook groups are? Let me know. 1, not concerned at all. 10, piping hot concern. Comment below. It's the Michigan Football Report. We're going to have 2 videos today. So come back in about 6-7 hours from now. You will not want to miss what's at 5 o'clock Eastern we say we're going to publish today? 5:30 Eastern today. We're going to give you a really big story on the future of this program. Go Blue.